Hey everybody, welcome back live at Drew's house, another edition. Hope everybody is doing well out there. It's officially spring and feeling like spring these spring days. I love it because the winter felt long, folks, and now we get warm weather, and I love the warm weather. Tennis, golf, whatever you do. Hope you're enjoying it. Very excited today. I have Officer Kevin Martin in the house, Newburyport Police. How are you, sir?
Good, Drew. How are you?
Good to meet you. Last time I met you, we were seeing some music together. That's where we met at a show in Beverly.
Yeah.
So you're wearing a different attire today, I see.
I am, yeah. A little bit different, yeah.
But and we have a huge musical background, so we'll talk a little bit about that. How is life on the police force these days, though? Everything going all right?
It's going well, yeah. I think things are improving from the last couple of years, and the guys are all upbeat, and I say guys in a general sense, but guys and gals, we're just carrying on. We're doing what, we're supposed to be doing, and just moving on.
Pandemic was, I can imagine policing in a pandemic is probably not the easiest thing in the world either, right?
No, it was very difficult, especially with all the COVID cases going on.
Yeah. Every call you must be thinking about it.
Oh, we were, yeah, very much so. And we had to try to really control the exposure that we had with patients.
Yeah.
So we tried to limit those that came in contact or potentially had to come in contact with the patient, and we had to wear masks when they were available, because at first we didn't have any.
Yeah, there was shortages,
Yeah, so oftentimes we would go into a call without a mask on, or, the N95, the real heavy ones. We've all gotten through it, and we're moving on and just trying to stay positive.
Yeah, there must. I do think though. Like I was in a. I remember I was part of a crew. I guess it was a family party, and we had an unfortunate health scare. Everything was good, but it was to the point where like it was a reaction to something, and we had to call for help. And I remember they kind of came in, and I can imagine like that was kind of a controlled situation. Nobody ever felt like anything was really going to happen. But you guys run into some tough stuff. I can imagine in a pandemic with COVID, like at some point it's like, this is a really tough situation. I'm not going to worry about I'm just going to help this person. Like there has to be a little bit of that, right? I would think.
Oh, that's absolutely the case.
Yeah.
At the same time, in the back of our minds, we have to remember that we have to protect ourselves, because if we can't protect ourselves, we can't protect others. Yeah. So, we have to really, in a pandemic, all the rules change.
Right.
And the way you go about doing things is completely different. And you have to keep in mind all of this stuff, because otherwise it just it can turn bad on you. And we had, I think it was around seven of our guys end up with COVID.
Really, 7?
So yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, is it because you do have to? You're probably getting tested a lot, I would imagine, just because it is a team. It's just like anything else. If you're
not as much now.
Yeah. But during the heart of it, maybe.
Yeah. But the main thing was just to try to keep ourselves, separated from people as much as possible.
Yeah.
I find that one of the best things for me was just to constantly watch what I was doing with my hands, try not to touch anything if I can help it. Oftentimes, if I'd go to a call, I'd put my hands in my pockets just so I wouldn't touch anything.
Yeah, because your natural thing is to shake a hand.
That's where you're touching it.
Yeah.
And you look at, they say to wear masks, but if you watch a person who's wearing a mask, what are they doing most of the time? They're touching their mask.
Yeah.
They're constantly touching it, and then they're putting their hands down on tables and whatever the case may be. Well, if the virus is on that mask, now they've just spread it to the table. So, I'm just more of a proponent of have good hygiene, watch where you're putting your hands.
Yep.
Protect yourself in that respect, and I've stayed healthy. Knock on wood.
We're all learning on the go through a pandemic. There's no doubt about that.
Oh, of course.
Let's fast forward to right now. Spring weather. You enjoy the spring, do you?
Spring is my favorite time.
It's great. Isn't it?
It's when everything's coming alive again. The trees are blooming. The flowers are coming out. The colors. Yeah, it's my favorite.
It's
time.
perfect. It's also, I would imagine. I think they call this month or this period right now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it's like Driving Awareness Week or Driving Awareness Month. It's like this is probably strategically placed right now because maybe you guys see more accidents. I don't know. It's either people just driving faster because the windows are down, lack of paying attention. I don't know. There's probably a million reasons that I won't try to be a professional and try to cite. But you tell me, are there more kind of stuff going on the road right now?
Yeah, the accidents are starting to pick up. We had a couple of them yesterday, and we had one the other day, unfortunately, where a woman got hit and got hurt pretty bad. The biggest thing is still right now is the use of cell phones, texting, talking on your cell phone, holding the phone in your hand. You're not paying attention. It's all that distracted driving. That's a major issue.
I think it's going to be, I hope it goes away tomorrow, but yeah, I do think that it's just, this thing has become just such a part of our lives, right? It's just always there.
Right.
It's information. It's great in a lot of ways. It's also, for me, I find it to be addicting in a bad way sometimes, but the fact that it's just, I don't know how to get rid of that, how to impress that on the young kids. Do not put the thing down while driving. It's
Well, exactly. Yeah. And oftentimes we see kids that we know they're texting.
Yeah.
We know they're talking on their phone or doing something. Yeah. And, they're surprised when they get into a bad accident.
Yeah.
It hits them because their immediate response is, wow, that happened fast.
Yeah.
They don't realize how fast accidents occur.
I'm trying to remember, even in the school days. I remember getting when our officers would come in, you got the whole thing on drugs and, this and that. I wonder if that, is there enough of that going around, you think? And they teach that in schools? Please put that's a real life thing. Don't text and drive, because we say kids, but let's face it, plenty of adults do it too, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We've been out really trying to enforce the cell phone usage.
Yeah. Hard thing to enforce them
and
too, right?
It's a lot of adults are doing it. It's just a matter of getting away from it. And we're constantly telling them, if you're going to talk on the phone, hard mount it, because that's what it's supposed to be. It's just a one-touch thing. So,
because it's like I know you get the unfortunate side of, you get to see the other side of those accidents and get called to them, but that's a weapon when you're driving at 50, 60.
Right.
Whatever mile per hour. It doesn't take much to, might not be on you. Maybe so you can't react to something that shouldn't have been there, but
Absolutely.
It doesn't take much to just have you distracted. You really do have to be focused. So.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't know. Hopefully that problem goes away. What is the percentage you think of accidents that involve cell phones?
Oh, I wouldn't even have a clue right now, because it's, some of the times we cannot determine per se if the person was in fact on their cell phone.
Yeah.
We know by experience and what they're telling us that they probably were.
Yeah.
But to really try to have an accurate ability to maintain those statistics.
Yeah.
There's too many variables that come into play, but I would say it's probably a higher percentage, at least higher than 50%.
Really?
It's going to be my guess, yeah.
Yeah. So much. Yeah. Think about that. If you can eliminate all those accidents on the road, how much of a better place and how many families' lives would not be changed for the worst.
Oh, absolutely.
Crazy to think about. Again, we're joined here by Officer Kevin Martin, Newburyport Police. And how you like being a police officer in Newburyport? Good.
I love it.
Yeah. Did you start here? Or
no, I was born and raised in Los Angeles.
Oh, okay.
I was a police officer with the Los Angeles Police Department.
No kidding.
For about 10 years.
Starting in what year?
I started in 1985.
Wow.
I'm dating myself.
Those were some big years out there.
So
policing, man.
Yeah. So after that, I moved out to Boston and became an investigator with the state doing fraud cases, and then started with Newburyport. And I started as a reserve in January '98, and then became full time in January of '99, and I've been here ever since.
I did not know that fun fact. What made you make the? That's a big leap, West Coast to East Coast. What made you make the jump?
Well, I was married to a Bostonian.
Okay, that helps.
And and we had gone through the unfortunate Rodney King incident and the after effects with that, and I was on the department during that whole thing. And then we thought we were going to lose our house in one of the wildfires, and then the floods, and then finally our house got severely damaged in the Northridge earthquake. Wow. And all in 2.5 years.
Goodness.
And my wife at the time, she had said, I can't do this anymore. I want to go back home.
Wow.
So, I reluctantly said, you want me to go and live in the severe cold? Are you out of your mind? You're talking to an LA kid. But I did, and it's become my home now.
Grew to love it?
And I love it out here. Yeah, it's my home.
What was that? I mean, for somebody who, I don't remember Rodney King, what was it like being on the beat for that? That must have been, I'm sure you'll never forget it.
It was terrible. It was and terrifying. It was, we were under constant threat. There were 3,500 structure fires all burning at the same time all around the city. Where I worked, Hollywood Division, we had a lot of different fires within our place and a lot of activity going on. And it was tragic. It really was. It was just not anything that I would want anyone to go through.
Yeah, because we've obviously in more recent years, whether this country has been dealing with a lot of that stuff, just police criticism, let's say, for certain incidents. And I wonder, did some of the younger guys come at you and kind of ask you for, like, because I'm sure they know your history of being on the beat in LA during all that. Did they say, like, God, feels like this is kind of unfair to put all police in this kind of category? Did they kind of pick your brain a little bit for advice on how to deal with these things, or?
They do. And what I tell them, like I learned when we were out there, is you just stay steady, stay strong, go out and do your job how you've been trained.
Yep.
And in our department here, we're certified. So, the training that we get is top notch. It's and we take pride in that.
Yeah.
We want to be, one of the better trained, more upper echelon departments that is squared away and does what it's supposed to do.
I'm sure you look at the bad incidents around the country and you say that is just a lack of training, right? Or maybe every situation differs. I probably shouldn't say that. Maybe every situation probably is different. But let's face it, bad policing is bad for the industry. I know you guys hate it more than anything.
Oh, we do.
When you see a bad video or a police officer doing a bad thing in whatever part of the country.
Absolutely. Oh, yeah. It tears at our heartstrings, especially the ones, that happened in the Midwest. And, we scratch our heads and say to ourselves, oh, okay, this is not normal police work.
Yeah.
It just isn't.
Do you think enough people get that? Because like it's so easy to, I don't think people recognize sometimes, and I know a lot of police officers and I know how tough of a job it can be, but do you think sometimes people don't quite understand the average Joe at home? Like this hurts police officers more than anybody. They know how bad that video is for the business. They know how that makes their job tougher.
Right.
I don't think that always hits home with the normal American all the time.
And probably doesn't. When I find myself talking with people, a lot of people really don't know what we do.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Is that right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Even my girlfriend now, she'll say, well, what do you know about that? And I'll say, because that's what I do for a living.
Yeah.
And she's like, you do? Yeah.
That's too
so
funny.
it's like, I just think people are misinformed. They just don't understand what it is that we do. And quite honestly, and this is my perspective, and I think probably the perspective of others, we are the true watchdogs of the community. We're not just watching out for criminals and traffic problems and stuff like that. We're watching out for things that occur within the city, whether it be a water main break or roads in disrepair or something like that we have to involve other agencies within the community.
Yeah.
So we are the true watchdogs 24/7 out there.
Yeah, and it is 24/7, isn't it?
It
Whenever
is.
you need a police officer, they are there.
It
Again,
is.
Officer Kevin Martin joining us. I have the newspaper here because I'm reading this, and people may be wondering why there's a horn instrument behind you there, and they'll soon learn. So the beat goes on. This is the front page of the Daily News here, the fine paper. And it says the beat goes on to raise money for arts programs, something that I know is near and dear to your heart. Officer Martin, you are a musician and a fantastic one at that. And music has meant a lot to you, hasn't it?
It has. I've been playing for 48 years. I started in, I'm going to date myself again, junior high, which is called middle school now.
Yep.
I had one of the finest music teachers in the world, starting out as a little seventh grader, learning my trumpet.
Yeah.
And back then, there were so many kids that were learning music and involved with music, and learning to be creative, and giving them something to do other than just sit at home. And back then, we didn't have video games and all of that stuff. And it's I've seen budgets just being cut left and right over the years.
Yeah, and this is Pentucket, I should say. This is Pentucket. It does seem like that's the thing they cut first when they need to cut is the music, right?
It seems like that's the case, and
Not just at Pentucket. I mean across the country.
all across the country.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's tragic because music and all arts in general, they just expand the mind of the individual so much.
Yeah.
And it's not just in the realm of creativity. It's in the realm of mathematics.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the realm of creating discipline within yourself and with others and that type of thing. So there's so many different aspects about it, and learning how to interact with people. So many times, kids are on these things and they're just staring at the screens all day long, and they're just, they're not doing anything to expand their mind.
Yeah.
And that's why music programs are so important, starting at a very young age.
Absolutely. I mean, besides the fact that you're a great officer here at Newburyport, the fact that you're on this show is because we met at a music show in Beverly one night. So there you go.
Right.
I mean, that's how you do get to meet. It's funny, you meet certain people and then they lead you to other people. Some of the guests that I met, I think, in that night in Beverly have been on this show playing a little bit. So it is funny. It's kind of a good community to be a part of too, because I always find like musicians, and I would like you to talk a little bit about the various musicians you played with, because you've played with some great ones, but you find that there's so much talent out there, which I've had so much of it in this studio. It's crazy. It's almost overwhelming. Like how are this person not a star? Or, it's unbelievable. You've just been playing in Danvers and Beverly and Salem and Newburyport. You've been playing here the whole time. How have I never met you? And like, well, now you have. And now you follow these people. I mean, I guess that's how it goes. But
right.
A little bit about your background. Who you played with, bands. Anything you're promoting now for music?
Well, predominantly the last couple of years, I've been playing with a band called Rule of Three. It's run by Rich Marino, who is the owner of Chianti's Jazz Club in Beverly.
Yep.
They're on kind of a hiatus right now, but I was their official trumpet player, I guess. Yeah. But I've had the pleasure to be invited up to play with the great blues singer Tony Lynn Washington.
Wow.
I got invited to play with Elon Trotman at Chianti's Jazz Club.
Yeah.
I played with Henley Douglas, Brandon Terracone's Crew to Groove, that plays in the North Shore.
Wow.
Parker Wheeler here in Newburyport.
Yeah.
He's a good friend of mine. And his sidekick, Amity Costanel, who is a fantastic sax player who used to play with everyone in New Orleans and, the Neville Brothers and
Some
stuff
jam
like that.
sessions there, huh?
So, just to name a few. But, I've been fortunate to be able to sit in with some great musicians.
Yeah.
And I'm just grateful for it. I do what I can because I'm working so much as an officer that, I still try to practice as much as I can at home. And
did the officers ever back at the station? They ever make you pull that thing out and entertain a little bit?
I played for Yankee Homecoming with
Okay.
the band a couple of years ago, and I guess a couple of guys watched me. But
so that instrument I think I've told you this before. I think I'm a poor man's guitar player, so that's my instrument of choice. I could not work my way around the horn. So to teach people, like, where do you start? You want to be a great horn player, trumpet player. What's the foundation?
Well, the foundation is first to find out whether or not you're interested in playing that type of instrument.
That is important, right?
Yeah, because I originally, I started out on guitar as my first instrument, playing with my uncle in the backyard, playing to Neil Diamond tunes and stuff like that. But I wanted to be a drummer.
Yeah.
That's really what I wanted to do. And I ended up on the trumpet, and they passed around different mouthpieces, and with the flute and saxophone, and the trumpet mouthpiece, I couldn't make a sound out of it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And what did they do? They ended up sticking me in the trumpet section. So I was, felt kind of defeated, but I gave it my all, and I just kept practicing and practicing, and I ended up doing, quite well with it.
I would say
all,
so.
All things considered, I was the one of the lead trumpet players in the jazz band and the marching band. I was the drum major and the orchestra and so
There's a lot of great marching bands around here too. That's another thing. Like I went to Danvers High, which I think they probably still do. When I was there, if you remember, they were always going to the Rose Bowl, playing the Rose Bowl parade there. One of the better marching bands. I know there's a bunch of them around here though. Like this is kind of a hotspot for marching bands, and I see like a lot of these schools are getting rid of those too. Just again, it has to be music cuts. It's devastating to see.
It really is, and it's not just marching bands, because you have to remember there's also drum and bugle corps that are out there that are phenomenal bands. If you've ever been to a drum and bugle corps show, they are absolutely some of the most amazing sounds, powerful sounds that you can possibly imagine. But you look at the discipline that goes into each and every musician that's on that field doing that show, doing the movements and all of that. It's a lot of work. But there is not one single person that is ever part of a marching band or especially a drum and bugle corps, whatever the case may be, that will say to you, I hated the experience. Every single one that I've ever talked to, they still go to the shows all the time. I relish the times that I was in the Royal Cavaliers Youth Band, which was the #1 youth band in the United States at the time. I still talk about it. I'm still friends with some of the members.
It's everything, the camaraderie, it's the playing, what you learn from the person next to you, all of it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's just, you just can't beat it. Music is the universal language.
Yeah.
Everybody understands it. Doesn't matter what the genre is. It brings people together, and it gets them to socialize, to communicate, and to understand each other in a way that nothing else can.
And from the marching band to the band that you play with in Beverly, like that's kind of just a smaller scale version of that, right? It's just the people learning from each other. I'm sure you're still learning things on stage every night you play. And,
oh my God, I still go home and sometimes want to just throw the horn right through the window because I'm going, I sound terrible tonight. Oh man.
Oh no. Well, I know that's the thing. I'm sure you're hard on yourself, but no, that's not. I have had we have a few mutual friends, and they have convinced me. I thought at the last second we were going to talk, policing, and then I said, "Can you bring the horn in?" Because I kind of and you said, "Absolutely, I can do that." So, can I hear a little bit? Can you give me 60 seconds on the
Sure.
Let's hear how that baby sounds.
Sure. What do you want to hear? Let's see. Might have to back off this mic a little bit. Is that okay?
Yeah. That thing can move. You do what you're going to do with it. Here, you can even turn it sideways a little bit if.
Maybe I can move the chair.
I'll let you. There you go. Let you take your second with it. Again, we're joined here by Officer Kevin Martin, live from the Newburyport studios. Here, we're talking about all sorts of things. We've covered a whole lot of ground today, and now we get to hear him play it. So, what is the official name of the? Is this a?
Well, what I did is, because we're in the studio, I brought in my flugelhorn.
Okay.
Actually, I have both, but I brought in the flugelhorn. This is a flugelhorn.
Gorgeous.
So it's this actually became popular by a musician called Chuck Mangione.
Okay.
That's what really brought the flugelhorn to the forefront, the sound and everything else. He made it popular and more in today's music. And then there's a trumpet, which is a more punchy, big band type of a thing.
Okay. So you've chosen this for the room, I understand.
I've chosen for the room, yes.
All right, let's hear a little bit.
Well, you know what? You talked about what's your favorite time of the year. We talked about spring and all of that.
Sure.
But a lot of people have been talking about summer. They want the warm weather.
Okay.
So I figured I'll play you a little summertime.
All right.
How's that?
Take it away, Officer Kevin Martin. Woo! Very nice. There you go. I like that. We can open up the windows. I think we'll have crowds outside here pretty soon. Spring, summertime. Yes, excellent.
That's okay
Very
for
nice.
not being able to warm up. So.
That probably is true. We're hitting you cold. Sorry about that. All these
That's
other
all right.
musicians that come in, they get to kind of loosen up a little bit, and then they say, "Okay, I'm ready to go." I just said, "Grab that thing and go." Sounds good though. So you still genuinely enjoy playing as much as possible, though, right?
Oh my God, yeah.
Yeah.
We Rule of Three and did a show at the Cabot Theater last November. We
Great
had
spot, Cabot Theater.
Yeah, and we had over 500 people there, and some of the people from work came down.
Yep.
And people are still talking about that show. It was a great show. We had a phenomenal sax player, one I've wanted to play with for a long time, a guy by the name of Tucker Antel. Play with us, sit in with us, and it was just a fantastic show. I miss it.
Do you listen to? Do you try to find music like with horns and big band sound a lot, or do you like in your own time just casual listening? Are you more like a rocker? What would you say?
No, I'm more
bit of everything,
I'm
or?
more I'm everything. I mean, I love country. I love rock and roll.
Yeah. Who are the bands dropping? Who are your favorite bands?
Best band in the world, in my opinion, and always will be. Love them. I always wanted to play with them. Earth, Wind, and Fire, without a doubt.
Yeah.
Those guys are awesome. I've
a lot of people agree with you. Actually,
I used to work out with Ralph Johnson in L.A. Because he's a
you know everybody, man.
And I love the guy, and I've always admired those guys and their sound, and they're phenomenal. But as far as other individual players, trumpet wise, if you can kind of go back. I mean, there's guys like Freddie Hubbard, Lee Morgan.
Yep.
Excuse me. That I just find are fantastic players. Clark Terry. And if you want to get into more modern guys, you're talking smooth jazz. I really love smooth jazz.
Yeah.
So you're talking about guys like Rick Braun, Chris Bodie.
Yep.
That type of thing.
Jazz is so fascinating to watch. I love being in the audience for jazz shows. I've been to plenty at Chianti, actually, because I live near there. But wherever you go, you see good jazz, because it's so, I mean, there's a lot of freestyling, or however you want to call it, but it's all done within like structure, right? I mean, that's kind of the
Oh, absolutely.
It's always fascinating to watch. What's the rule? You always come back to the beat, I guess that's what the jazz players say. I am not one of them, but it's always amazing to see where group bands take songs, or where musicians go, and then they come back together, and then you just ride that wave again. It's fascinating.
It's all depends on the song. It depends on who's writing the song, or if it's a song that's already been on the books, and they might arrange and do a different format of it, and they'll say, okay, let's take it in this direction and then bring it back. But it all falls under a particular chord or scale structure.
Right.
And it's when you hear, especially in traditional jazz, guys playing solos, they're all playing within that chord structure of the song, of the scale.
Yep.
And it's then when you hear one musician take over and another one doing a solo, they're all kind of playing off of each other, and that's what's great about live music, and why we needed to bring live music back, because it's not just the music and listening to the musicians, it's watching them interact with each other and what they're doing and how they're doing it.
Definitely.
That makes it even better.
And there's probably, like, when you get to jump on stage with people you've never played with before, there's probably no better feeling in the world when that works out, and when you're feeling that person next to you and stuff.
Oh,
right?
yeah. And then you're looking out at the audience, and they're all
into it,
screaming, hopefully good things.
That's right.
It's a feeling you can't describe. You feel like you're on cloud nine.
And you mentioned why we needed to bring it back. I mean, I get the impression you're like me when live music went away. I mean, just going to shows, even just as an observer. I always say, I've said this many times on this show, I never took it going I never took it for granted. My wife and I always used to love to go to live shows. We always did it all the time. Never took it for granted. I always appreciated it. Always appreciated the performer. But even when it was taken away, even I was like, I still don't think I appreciated that enough. Like, I don't think I realized how much that was a part of my life, going to shows and going to see music.
Right.
When that was gone, I was like, I didn't know what to do.
Right.
You know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we have to have music in our lives. Music it brings together so many different things, and it's entertainment.
Yeah.
Let's face it, with all of the nonsense that's going around the country right now, especially the pandemic, people need a break, and going to live concerts, live venues is a way to escape all that nonsense, and it's needed.
And we're in a great spot for it here. Newburyport, all these surrounding towns, across the bridge in Salisbury, when you go up north, and so many towns up in New Hampshire right now doing a great job too. But really, there's so many great local spots and local talent around. It's just you don't have to go to the big show all the time.
Oh,
absolutely.
absolutely.
It's just all these little small places bringing in unbelievable artists. It's cool to see.
And I would like, although Newburyport does have its venues with music, I would like to see it expand even more.
Oh, me too.
I mean, you have places like the Black Cow where they've got the deck up above. They could bring in a band up there and
I was
play.
just looking at that deck the other day.
Yeah.
I'm like, the perfect spot. And there's so many spots, right? And not just Newburyport, my town of Danvers, so many of them. And I'm always thinking to myself, I was like, there's a spot right there. That's a perfect spot. The day is being wasted right now.
Right,
Exactly. There's not somebody playing in that
Well,
corner.
the Berry Tavern in Danvers, they get a lot of bands in there. In fact, I played with Rule of Three there.
You played there? Okay.
Yeah. And so that's a nice little venue.
Yep. And I actually know them, so I can say this on the air. It's a place I go to and I've given business to, and I like them to do a great job. Even I have said to them, more music.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
because
yeah.
I think they're kind of a once a week thing. I was let's do more of it.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I know Sis, who's like the manager down there, and she's been very, very supportive of Rule of Three and come to some of our concerts and stuff. And
I think a lot of people are still restaurants too. I think, including that one, I know for a fact that they were doing everything they could during the pandemic to do delivery and takeout and just amazing creative ways to stay. So I think they're still trying to find their footing. A lot of places after this pandemic, trying to we survived. Now how do we survive and rebuild?
Right. Exactly.
All right, couple just policing ones on the way out. Newburyport centric. What's the biggest thing you would like to see? How do I phrase it? What's the biggest thing you'd like to see the community kind of come together and address from a policing standpoint? What would make your life easier as the people of Newburyport?
Realize that we are here for them. We always have been.
Yep.
We are a very responsive police department. When you call us, we are there in a very, very short period of time, and we care. Every single member on the department really puts in 110% to just make the community overall just a great place to live, and we're supportive of everyone. It really, I mean, we are. It doesn't matter your ethnic background or whatever the case may be. We love having you. We're supportive of you, and if you need something, we're there for you. And that's the biggest take that I want people to understand is we always have been and we always will be.
Good answer there. Morale of the department right now, strong, would you say?
Yeah, I'd say strong. It was down over the last couple of years.
And you could feel
the
that
pandemic. Oh God, yeah. It was quite a struggle. But we just said, I was saying to a lot of guys, we're going to get through this.
Yep.
Just stay strong, stay steady, just do it. Do what you're hired to do, and it will turn around, and people will truly see that, hey, we are there for them. We haven't left. We're there, and we always will be.
What would you say to the middle school kid that wants to grow? You know what? I want to be a police officer someday. What's the best advice?
Well,
I like the opening with laughter.
There's a lot of changes, so it's much more difficult now. I would say, first of all, try to find a job that you can make more money if you're looking to make money. But if you want to be a police officer, you know what? If your heart's into it, then do it. If that's what you really enjoy, I would never talk bad about the profession.
Yep.
I have enjoyed the profession. I think it is still one of the greatest jobs around. Not just for the people, the good people that we meet and get to talk with, but for what we experience in life. We experience more things in a very short period of time than most people will ever experience in their lifetime.
Yeah.
So if you want that excitement, you want that all that type of exposure. You want something that is always changing every single day.
Yeah.
I'd say, and you truly want to help people. Then I'd say, come on board.
It must be rewarding. I mean, it's one of those, some people, let's face it, some people work jobs that just, you don't have that immediate impact that you see on a life. Like, it must be rewarding when you go in and you help a family or you help somebody out of a situation or whatever the case may be. It is one of those jobs that I do think, very few other ones kind of offer. Firefighters have the same deal. I've always thought there must be nothing more rewarding than to pull somebody out of a burning house and save their life.
Absolutely.
It's
when you're down performing CPR on somebody and you bring them back to life, or you've had somebody that's overdosed on narcotics, you bring them back to life. Somebody's in a car accident and you're doing all that you can to help them get out of that situation and get the help that they need, and your actions have actually saved that person's life. It's tremendously uplifting.
Yeah.
It's a great feeling.
We should.
That's what drives us.
I bet we should talk a little bit about that too, real quickly, because it's kind of been the before the pandemic it was big, and then the pandemic kind of overshadowed it. But I mean, let's face it, the drug issue is still a massive issue around this part, New England, all around the country, opioids, whatever. How's Newburyport dealing with it? I know any time you come across something like that, when somebody's OD'd, it's brutal, but are the numbers, and they still too high for the?
They're still way too high.
Is it staggering? I mean, I'm trying to get a feel for it in this community in particular, because I'm sure you've seen it grow over the years, your time on the force. Is it about as bad as it's been?
It's probably, for our community, a little bit less. I think we're seeing a lot more mental health issues. That's the biggest thing that we're dealing with right now.
And pandemic doesn't help that.
Right, exactly. I would say, and this is just my guesstimate, based upon what we've seen, but probably 75 to 80% of our calls have to do with mental health. The opioid crisis does play into that. Statewide, Massachusetts, in fact, just stats today, there's like 130 people a day die from opioid, and at least 5 in Massachusetts a day. Yeah. So it's a big problem.
Never
Our
mind
community,
the saved lives. That's not even just people who those are the people that actually died. I mean, a lot of lives have been saved too by people like yourself.
We brought back many people. We carry the Narcan with us, and it's a great feeling knowing that you've brought them back.
Is it on you right now? Is that something every police officer carries?
We carry it in the car with us. Yeah. We carry it with our defibrillators. So if we have to try to revive somebody that's had a heart attack or going into some type of cardiac arrest, and we have to utilize that, we have it all with us.
When did you start carrying Narcan yourself? When did everybody start carrying that? Was it still recent years, or?
It's been 3 or 4 years at least now, I think.
Still a fairly new thing, though, in the grand scheme of things, having that.
Yes. I mean, that's probably the most recent, newest thing, other than body cameras. That's the most recent thing.
I wonder, do you ever see like do you ever see that person that you bring back almost and hopefully, I mean, this is what every officer hopes for, I guess, you save somebody's life and then they, never going down that road again. I mean, that's the best case scenario, but so often that's not the case, right?
That's not the case. Most of the time they still want their high, and they're angry that we've ruined their high for them, and after we've just brought them back to life.
You've actually had people angry at you.
Oh yeah. And they'll ask for their heroin back, or their fentanyl back, or
oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, they want that. They want to go back and they're mad at us for ruining their hide. They'll tell us straight out.
And then
it's,
you say, you were going to die.
yeah, yeah,
that-
and that's the
that
that's
doesn't
the
register.
tragic thing. That's the tragic thing. It doesn't. But these are some very, very ill people that, that the narcotics have just really taken a hold of them, and they're severely addicted. And we have a unit that tries to reach out and help them try to get off of it and recover. But it's a long process because that drug is just so powerful.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Very sad. All right, Officer Kevin Martin, Newburyport Police. A couple things. Anything you want to promote for the summertime that the police department's doing? Anything special or anything? I don't know, any initiatives you guys want to get out there? Just stop texting on the road. I know.
Yeah, I'm not really sure of any initiatives right now. I know we have Yankee Homecoming coming up.
Yankee Homecoming. There you go.
And next, actually, I think it's Monday next week. We have Coffee with a Cop at the Newburyport Senior Community Center.
Cool. Is that something you guys do a lot?
We have done it. We've done it with Starbucks, and now we're starting at the Senior Center here.
Oh, cool.
So we'll be doing that. You can come by and ask us questions pretty much about anything, and we're here. We'll probably have various different outreach pamphlets and stuff like that for those that have a relative or a friend that might need some help. So we'll be able to pass information out and stuff like that. But other than that, I say have fun, have a safe summer. We have Yankee Homecoming coming up. Let's enjoy the music. Let's promote the music and bring peace back into all of our lives.
There you go. You guys are a very approachable staff, I have found. You can go talk to a Newburyport officer, which I think is a good thing. I always say hello, right? You guys like
absolutely.
that when people say hello, don't you?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. I think so. Again, Officer Kevin Martin, this has been fun. We usually do some quick questions right off the beat just to end the show with first-time guests. So you ready? Quick 5 hitters or so here?
I'll do my best.
They're not easy, but favorite food?
Tacos.
Tacos? All right. Favorite musician of all time?
Oh boy.
It's got to be one.
Wow.
You can go back to it if you want. Favorite song?
Favorite song.
Tough on a music guy. They're tough.
I think one of the greatest songs ever written was Over the Rainbow.
I love that song.
Yeah.
So many different takes on it. Beautiful. Favorite class back in school?
Physics.
Physics? East Coast or West Coast food?
Well, it depends. I mean, I'm half Spanish, so I like Mexican food.
Okay.
East Coast, it's my girlfriend's cooking. She is amazing. And you talk about favorite foods. I forgot about one of them is a Brazilian soup that we make. It's called moqueca, and it's fabulous.
Okay.
She's an awesome cook.
Well played getting that in there twice. Red Sox or Dodgers?
They're in my blood. They're both in my blood.
Yep.
One's East Coast, one's West Coast. Red Sox. Red Sox are my team,
Okay.
but so are the Dodgers.
Right. How'd that work for you a couple of years ago?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, it was. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
All right. Very good. The Red Sox struggling a little bit this year, but
I know
it's a long season.
But you know what? I loved him, especially Big Papi. I miss Big Papi. I miss his playing and what he brought to the Red Sox.
And a weird, however you want to call it, a weird string of incidents. Big Papi ended up on the digital version of the show where I was doing it from my kitchen there during the pandemic. I got to interview Big Papi for 25 minutes or so. Yeah.
Yeah. Seems like a great guy.
He's certainly. I was at the game after the marathon bombings when he came out and did "This Is Our Effing City."
Oh yeah. That was awesome.
I remember I was under the overhang right behind home plate. And I remember looking at my wife and go, did he? It seemed like nobody in that place had a problem with it on that day.
Nope. Nope, absolutely not. And there was no better person that could have said that than him.
That's true. Yeah, it's true. I don't even think I don't think there were any fines on that day for that going across the air. Did you come up with the favorite musician, or is it just?
Oh my God,
I
have so many. Actually, I probably listen to more sax players.
Okay.
Than anything. So one of my favorite musicians right now is Gerald Albright, smooth jazz sax player.
Okay.
Him and trumpet wise, it's probably either Rick Braun or Chris Bodie.
All right.
for
It's an
smooth
unfair
jazz.
question for a musician asking who's your favorite. It's too
Yeah,
many
I
influences.
mean, like I said, I go back, to some of the old musicians too, old trumpet players, and
Yep.
Freddie Hubbard and Lee Morgan, Clark Terry, Wynton Marsalis
Oh, yeah.
is amazing. Probably one of the greatest in the world, I think.
Two more. Favorite venue to play around here?
Well, so far, it's probably been the Cabot.
Cabot?
Yeah.
Just sound-wise or crowd-wise, all of it? The
Yeah.
whole package?
Yeah. Either that or Chianti's Jazz Club.
Yeah,
I
Beverly's
miss
good.
my Chianti's.
Beverly's a great
Yeah.
place for horn players.
Yeah.
I've always thought. All right, and the last question. We'll end with this. Again, it's been great to have Officer Kevin Martin in the house today. And a big thanks to Sarah Blackstone, who I sometimes don't thank enough. She does a great job with this
Yes,
show.
thank you,
producing.
Sarah.
Unbelievable job getting all this set up every day and the graphics and all that stuff. But the final question for Newburyport Police Officer Kevin Martin, what is the best career advice you have ever received? Going back as many years as you want. What's the best career advice you ever received?
As an officer, to have as many, if not more, friends outside of the job than you have on the inside. And the reason being is that you don't lose perspective of what people are all about. You learn to stay humble and keep in perspective that we're all human. And just because I wear a badge doesn't mean that I'm not just like you. I'm just another human being. So it's keeping that perspective.
Well said. I think we'll end with that one. Can you play us out with a little more? I love that. It was a little more horn sound.
Sure,
Well,
absolutely.
Sarah will like this to roll the credit. This will be great. Well, this has been great. Officer Kevin Martin doing an unbelievable job. Thank you for all your service for the Newburyport Police and this community. We appreciate it. Sarah Blackstone, thank you again. Sarah Hayden in the house doing a great job running the whole place here. We appreciate that. My name is Drew Mulholland, live at Drew's house. Joppa Afternoon Drive, another edition. This is perfect for this time of year, right? Some little horn sound to bring us out. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody. Have a good day. We'll see you.